In the Canadian Forest Fire Danger Rating System, the Fire Weather Index System provides baseline of most changeable factors for fire danger and fire behavior, that is, the current weather and seasonal variations in climate. The FWI system has been largely unchanged since 1970, remaining popular among users at all levels of fire management where it has been implemented. The Fire Weather Index System is comprised of a simple set of objective weather inputs: temperature, relative humidity, wind speed, and 24-hour precipitation total, collected at solar noon each day. From these inputs, 3 fuel moisture codes, fine fuel moisture code, Duff moisture code, and drought code, are incremented up or down from the previous day's value. These 3 moisture codes are combined with wind speed to produce 3 fire behavior indices: the initial spread index, the buildup index, and ultimately the fire weather index. These 3 moisture codes and 3 fire behavior indices provide insight about the weather factors that influence the fire environment throughout the fire season. For those familiar with the National Fire Danger Rating System, or NFDRS, this quote from Charles Van Wagner still summarizes how the FWI system differs from it. The American system is probably at its best in the open, grassy forests or brush types with little or no duff layers, common in many parts of the United States, but not well represented in Canada. The Canadian system, on the other hand, is at its best in forests with fairly complete canopy and a substantial layer of litter and duff, but no marked seasonal variation in herbaceous vegetation. And while the new version of NFDRS requires hourly observations that also include solar radiation and vapor pressure deficit, the FWI system still requires only a single daily observation with 4 basic weather observations that have remained unchanged for decades. These simple observations can be found in many historic weather records and may be easily simulated in climate predictions facilitating climate change assessments. There are strong analogies between the FWI system and NFDRS 2016, both conceptually and operationally. The most striking difference is among the fuel moisture outputs. While there are only 3 FWI fuel moisture codes, there are at least 7 NFDRS fuel moisture classes. Less obvious, NFDRS 2016 uses hourly observations to characterize the diurnal pattern each day, while the daily FWI system assumes a typical diurnal trend for shaded fuels. While NFDRS focuses its attention on surface fuels of litter, large woody debris, and live vegetation, the Fire Weather Index System and its 3 moisture codes track weather trends as influences on fuels in deep fuel beds of organic litter and duff. The daily FWI weather observation is taken at solar noon, while the NFDR observations are typically taken an hour later. The daily FWI weather observation calls for wind speed estimated at 10 meters instead of 20 feet. These small differences have not presented obstacles to FWI use in Alaska and the Lake States, however. The system's simplicity does leave some factors out, though. The Fire Weather Index System does not account for cloud cover because it assumes that the forest floor is generally shaded every day under forest cover. It does not track the day-to-day differences in overnight humidity recovery. Instability and convective influences are monitored only indirectly, if at all. Sudden changes in weather after the daily observation is taken do not change the daily FWI values unless the user decides to recalculate them. The FWI system does not objectively track seasonal green-up and curing of the landscape. Users must account for these factors outside of the system. A field guide for the FWI users has been developed for Alaska and the Lake States. It includes background information, local thresholds, and tools for manual estimation in the field. Local versions may be available in your area. The weather guide to the Canadian Forest Fire Danger Rating System, like the NWCG Fire Weather Station Standards Guide, includes critical information about weather sensors and observations. The Canadian Guide also provides background information on FWI system elements and underlying weather phenomenon like drought. Hopefully this presentation highlighted the critical role that the Fire Weather Index System plays in the CFFDRS, and that it identified the key weather elements that go into the system. The 3 moisture codes that characterize how dry the fuel bed is, and the 3 fire behavior indices that help firefighters visualize the fire potential before the fire starts. There are additional presentations related to the FWI system. Take the time to view those and learn the entire system. Thank you.